Item D on our agenda is the approval of the agenda for the May 3rd, 2023 regular meeting. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is that unanimous?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Moving on to item E, approval of meeting minutes. We are still pending our January 4th, 2023 meeting minutes, as well as our February 1st meeting minutes, but we. Do you have the other
You
ones?
want me to make comment on that?
Yes.
So, you don't have anything. So, but I did finish the January 4th, the February 1st, and March 1st, which is not listed on your agenda. So those three are done. Those will come for sure next month, and I'll try to finish the other two before the next
Didn't
meeting.
we have the other ones done? The March ones?
The March ones?
Yeah.
Did we do those already?
I did.
Oh, so then maybe that's why it's not
We did.
listed.
Because we posted them.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so good job, okay, so then that means that we need these four, but I have drafts of the 4th and the 1st to bring to you.
No, but I think we did the 22nd and the 29th also.
I don't think so, but we can.
I will double check.
I have all the prior meetings, I will look.
Okay.
Well, anyway,
The
those
goal
are
will
all
be for the
coming.
Whatever they are.
They're coming.
The goal will be to get them done at the next
Done at
meeting.
the next meeting.
Whatever's
So-
missing, yes.
So let's shoot to have them at the June 7th, 2023 meeting.
Yes, sir.
Those should be available, and our apologies on not having them today. Moving on to item F, public communications. Persons may comment at this time on items not listed on the agenda. The commission will hear such comments but may not discuss nor act upon them unless and until items appear posted on the agenda. Persons wishing to be heard should complete a request for public comment blue card, which is over here on the table, and submit it to our recording secretary prior to the start of the meeting. Speakers are requested to limit their remarks to 3 minutes and speak in a respectful and professional manner. Are there any blue comments at this time? All right.
I do not have that.
Hearing none, I will move on to public comment on agenda items. Persons may comment on items listed on the agenda. The commission shall limit the total time for public input on each agenda item to 20 minutes. Persons wishing to be heard should complete a request for public comment white card and submit it to our recording secretary prior to the start of the meeting. With commission consent, the chairperson may increase or decrease the time allowed for public comments depending on the number of persons wishing to be heard. Are there any white cards?
None.
Right, hearing none, I will move on to item number G, Administration Employee Unit Communications, starting with our Administrators Association. Is there a representative? Okay, it looks like there's no report at this time for our Administrators Association. Moving on to item 2, group 2, our California School Employees Association, or CSEA. The chair recognizes the person representing CSEA. Would you mind stating your name?
Andrea Mosquito.
Can I make sure I spell your name correctly?
Yeah.
Last name.
Last name is MESQUITA.
And your first name is?
ONDREA.
N-D-R-E-A. Thank you so much.
Okay, so Colleen couldn't be here, so she sent me on behalf.
Perfect.
We are extremely concerned that we are no closer today than we were just over a year ago in getting this merit system up and running with a director and rules set in place. We would like the commission to do the right thing and start protecting the classified employees who in March of 2022 voted in favor of a merit district. Today, many of those employees find themselves in the same, if not worse, situation than they were previously. While this commission has tried to work collaboratively with this district, you now have firsthand experience of their inability to do so, as they have impeded the process at every turn. We need to move forward, whether that means declaring a conflict of interest and suing the district for their continued interference, or this commission stops allowing themselves to be pushed around and truly exercise your power and authority. We are asking that you ensure that things move forward by any means necessary. You are here because of us. Please do the job you were brought here to do.
Thank you. Is there a representative from the confidential administrators? No report this time. Any representative from confidential staff? No report this time. District administration?
Nothing now.
Thank you. All Alright, moving on to item H, it's an action item, approval of salary adjustment for the executive director of the personnel commission. Mr. Gordillo, you have additional information for us.
So, yeah, Philip Gordillo, Executive Director of CSPCA. So when you approved the classification, you approved the salary at that time, which was equivalent to range 10 on the confidential administrator salary schedule. When I brought forward the recommendation for the salary at that time, I had said in my recommended motion that anytime the district changes the confidential administrative salary schedule for the director of HR, you would just follow. Chairperson Greenwell and Vice Chair Regals, you said no, you didn't wanna do that. So that means that every time they make a change and if you wanna follow suit, you also have to take an additional action. So that's why this item is on the agenda. And so the position has been advertised. It's been advertised at this amount, because I took the amount from the schedule, but you still need to approve it in order to move forward.
Is there any further discussion from the commissioners around that item?
A motion to approve.
I second it. Any discussion? Shall we put it to a vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion so carries unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Gordillo.
You're welcome.
Moving on to information item I, report on executive director of the personnel commission recruitment. The chair recognizes Mr. Gordillo.
The position was advertised the second time. It closes Monday, May 8th. We have 5 candidates so far that have applied. None of them are repeats. We haven't done the screening yet, but I will begin doing that process after the 8th. I'll do the same process with finding other sitting directors to review the applications, give us their feedback, and then those that are qualified would move forward to the oral panel. And if you remember, the application process includes not only just their application, it includes their cover letter, it includes a resume, and then there are several questions, I wanna say 4, that they have to respond to. Those are the materials that are gonna be evaluated. They're scored, and then it's a pass or fail at the end, and then those that will move forward. And I'm assuming we're gonna use the same process. We're gonna go to the merit panel first, and then those that pass the merit panel would go on to the district panel.
Right, and that'll create our
That would create your list.
list, which we will then work with the
And
district.
what would you anticipate, when would you anticipate bringing back to the commission?
Well-
The top 3.
I anticipate that, within 10 days after May 8th, we would have the first panel, scheduling the first panel. The directors will respond to me quite easier. It's probably a little bit harder sometimes to get the district folks together. But, we do Zoom, with the directors, those are pretty easy.
Yeah, so the reason why I ask is I will not be at the June 7th meeting.
Okay. Well, June 7th, we would hope to have the eligibility list ready for you to approve. That would be the goal. And hopefully interviews that same day. But if you need to do something different, and if you need me to fast track it before the 7th, that means you have to have a special meeting, which I need to talk to you about that. Anyway, on a different
Yeah,
topic.
I'm out of town from May 26th to June 10th.
Are you gonna celebrate my birthday without me?
Unless you wanna come along with me.
I'll look, did you send me an invite?
Then I will be out of town after June 7th, so. Until the end of the month.
So you wanna give me some direction on what you want? You wanna hold your final interviews before June 7th?
Is that something we're able to do? Is
Does that have to be before?
that puts it in a
May
very tight
26th?
timeline.
It does, and that means that Amy and I are gonna scramble then to get the panel together for the district, cause we'd have to have both panels done by that time. So when would you all be, okay, this is a better question, after the 7th, when would you all be in seat and be able to meet?
I will be back in town on the 20th, so I could meet on the 21st, June.
June, okay.
You weren't supposed to do that.
Sorry.
Does,
Generally speaking, I'm good for the rest of the month.
so you would
I
be
would be
available
available.
after the 21st?
I'll be available.
So you won't be here for the 7th. The two of you, the chair and the vice chair, would be here for the 7th.
Correct.
So you could approve a list. I mean, if, assuming that you got the 2 votes, but you just wouldn't be able to have the final interview
Right.
until the 21st.
Would you be comfortable with that, Commissioner Gray?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The list is the list.
Okay.
That of Commissioner Regals, and I think the list is
Your
solid.
feedback on that, what do you think? It is what it is.
I have the 21st open.
Okay.
So maybe we plan a tentative special meeting for the 21st.
Yeah, when we get to the next meeting on the 7th.
But you won't be here, I wanna make sure it works for you.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, I was thinking, do both of them.
Yeah, we're not
Sorry.
falling for that one. Okay, so the 21st, you would have tentative interviews with your finalists, with your
Yes.
panelists. Okay.
Correct,
Candidates, okay.
if that is my current understanding, if that works for the other commissioners.
Amy, do you have any questions?
No, just, I think.
We'll
Stop.
just we'll figure it out.
Like, I'll get them ready now, yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right.
I wanna make sure that works for your timeline. That is a reasonable timeline for your department.
Yeah, I mean, we will talk now and I will let the same group ideally know and,
Perfect.
yeah, we could maybe figure that out.
Yeah.
And I know CSEA will make it a priority to rally folks together and get people to assemble for the panel. It seems like we have a common desire to get this moving forward.
And so, Amy had sent me the email regarding taking down the posting on the 8th, so take it down on the 8th.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and unless we grade the applications that there's not enough, then then I'll be back in contact with you that we have to repost.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we have a plan for the eligibility list, a plan for the panels, a plan for us to approve the eligibility list on June 7th.
Correct.
And then, and Commissioner Garrett has made, known that he won't be here, but he's comfortable with us approving that if we both deem it's acceptable, and then we will plan on interviewing the candidates on a special meeting on June 21st. I think we've got a plan. All right, any more information, for item 1, under I?
Unless you have any questions.
Gentlemen, any further questions? All right, let's move on to, item 2, the interim executive director personnel commission appointment.
So, when you had conversations with council, there were questions about if you could do an interim. And when we left the last meeting, you really didn't have clear direction, or at least I did not have clear direction on what you wanted. But in conversations with, Vice Chair Regals, he asked that, could we talk about that? And so I put it on the agenda. I don't have a recommendation. I think it's whatever you wanna do. There were comments at the dais that we could just wait until we get the final list and then move forward. Or we could try to do an interim between now and there's an appointment made. There's been conversation about we're still not doing the work as CSEA has already echoed at the microphone, so I don't know what your interests are. I'm not pushing one way or the other, I'm just asking what you want.
So, I think this is a worthy topic of discussion. It's my current understanding that to appoint an interim, we would have to go through the same process we would need to go through, as we would to hire our full-time director, and so I think it's worthy of us to invest the energy in that endeavor. But I hear the need from the classified employees and the urgency from them about making sure that the work is moving forward, so I don't wanna do it at the expense of the employees of this district, but I also wanna make sure we're following the protocols and moving forward with the appropriate processes that need to happen in order to get the right person in place. So my wondering is, if we have to go through all these steps for an interim, wouldn't that person just be the most appropriate person to hire for the actual role? And if we don't find a person for the role through the regular process, I think we do need to think about an interim director, because we can't continue with this. I don't know if I articulated anything clearly just now, but those are my thoughts.
They're mine as well.
We should have had an interim already.
Yeah.
To
Say that
establish,
again?
we should have had an interim already. We should have had rules in place already. It's been over a year.
Yeah.
And what happens if we go through a 3-month process hiring a director again with this district? Then we're just 3 months down the road without anything again, where the executive director of CSPCA has a team ready to go develop rules. We don't even have an office for our people to work in. We don't have testing stations. We have jack shit. That's the point of having an interim. Whether it's a couple days out, it's still a process. Even by the time we get to approving
Yes.
a candidate, then they gotta go through all the FBI fingerprinting. The hiring process is still gonna be 6 weeks, 2 months, again with no rules, with no office setup, no anything.
Yeah.
Again, that's where I'm at.
And I understand, I certainly understand what Mark is saying. The problem I have is that based on our legal information to us, we have to go through the same process that we have to go through as an interim, as an executive director. And I don't see how this is gonna improve anything. If we didn't have to do that, we could just hire
Someone.
Philip's turn team.
Well,
That would be that would give me something else to consider.
did we not say that, we not discuss it with that attorney about we had to wait 15 days before we could appoint an interim?
It has to be posted for
Posted for
15
15
days.
days, not.
Right,
not-
and we could have posted it at that point.
We could have posted both at the same time, right?
Correct.
But we didn't, we just posted the one.
I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. We could have, we didn't.
I think because we had high hopes for getting an applicant in and getting the right
Yeah.
person in
We
a
did,
permanent
but
spot.
we strung that person along way too long.
I believe there's more than one opinion on exactly what happened there. I don't think I have a different approach. I think she strung us along.
I think it's unfortunate, and I don't think it was by bad intentions of any of us around that situation. I don't see a bad intent. It is frustrating. The frustration that employees are feeling is real, and we want to move forward with this. And I guess it's our task to figure out how to best maneuver that. I would like to have a what-if plan in place if we are going through this process again, reopening and working with the district to what we do if we don't have an eligibility list, if they don't, you know, let's say worst case scenario, all of the 5 applicants don't pass, do we change our requirements? We have high aspirations for this because we really want the right person to come in and partner with all of our stakeholders so that we can put the right thing in place that the employees voted for. If we don't get a person, what is our next move? I do think, I do hear you, Commissioner Regals. I think
The process would start all over again.
right, we
again.
can't do that, and I think we need to have something in place for if this process takes its course and we don't have the right person, we do need to have a plan B or plan X or whatever letter we're on at this point, but we need to be able to move forward with an interim person so that we can get something up and running. The rules starting to be written, someone to help facilitate some of these processes so that the work still moves forward. And I know the district wants that too. I know they want this to move forward. The delay doesn't help any of us. It's a lose-lose situation. So is there something, Philip, that we can do in terms of creating an interim process as a what if?
I think there is. So what I would say is the work of hiring classified is still going on right now in HR, right? They're still moving through the process. They're clearly not following merit, and I'm not disparaging that. They're going through their normal process to fill positions, which is what they've had. If you don't have a candidate at the end of this interim after May 8th, at this time period after May 8th, perhaps, that doesn't mean that you can't implement merit. It just means that you don't have a designated staff. But the employees here have voted to do merit. And there are employees right now in HR touching that work. So it could be just the process of redirecting that staff to start implementing merit in their daily activities, where they use Nashana as their lead. I consult with them to help them move those processes forward following merit as we have through the ed codes. We don't have rules, but we have the ed code, and we could use that process. It would be a matter of redesigning what HR is doing right now. And if they need more staff or they need additional help, well, they would tap your budget to do that, right? Because the budget is already sitting there. And so there, I think there is a creative way to start the processes. You know, I have not said anything to Lynn about this. I have not said anything to Amy about this, but I've been thinking about what would happen. So the fact that, you know, and perhaps they tap your budget to help pay some of their salaries, or they need extra help, but we start implementing merit by the people that they have already. That's not what the employees, they're gonna come to the microphone and say, that's not what we wanted. We wanted to have their own staff, etc. But it is a meaningful Band-Aid to get the work going, etc. I can't do the interim between now and July 1st because I have 960 hours that I can do as a retiree in Newitt. I'm at 898 as of the end of last month. So I'm hitting it. I still have the folks that could probably come in and help out in some kind of consultant role. When we talked about it originally with Amy and Lynn, they have their own thresholds internally when they're hiring professional experts to come in and help this with the amounts that they can pay, etc. There was the issue with how we went through the process, or not going through the process, with having an eligibility list. Yeah, the 3 of us could submit our applications before May 8th and put ourselves in the pool, knowing we're not taking the job, right? Just to get our applications in so they can say we're on the list. But I'm not sure that you need to do that. Districts appoint interims all the time without having no list. That's the reason why they pick an interim, is because there is no list. And so that part of the legal guidance that we've gotten, I don't know about, but that's something for you to work out with the attorney. And I think that's a more of a closed session conversation. But I think there is a way, to make it happen. If I can give this analogy, if the district was to have an election for a bond measure, and the bond measure went through, it's the voters have said they want a bond measure, the district would respond to figure out how they get a director, how they get staff in place. This is also a district decision. I realize that there is some conflict between the administration and the unions to get this process in place, but this is now the new vehicle for doing that. And so there should be some efforts on the district side to, okay, what do you need to get going, et cetera. And
Right.
otherwise we're just letting it die on the vine. And, I know we've come a long way in our conversations with the district. I think that we're at a point that if we have to make this work, we all should work together to figure out how we do that. Because that's what's been voted in.
And that's what's gonna benefit the employees. So maybe we just need to articulate more of what that interim work with the chancellor and her team on that. Yes, the chair recognizes the chancellor and all.
I'm wondering, I know the rules part is the most laborious, so I'm wondering, I'm not sure that'll work with our capacity. We are slammed in HR right now with our hiring, not that we don't wanna do it, but I'm wondering if we shouldn't get the rules going. Cause my understanding from colleagues is those rules take a long time. We don't need a director. The commission, my understanding, you've already adopted sort of model rules. Why couldn't we could hire one of your consultants to start working on the rules and working with the constituent groups? That is going to take a while. We need rules, even for the hiring for the HR people to do. We need the rules. And so that would be my recommendation. I mean, it is, May 3rd or whatever, June 21st, June 7th, you're going to have your candidates, we'll know more. But my recommendation is we get started on these rules, because we have to make sure they comport with contracts. That's gonna take time, and couldn't we get a start on that? I don't think we need a director to do that. We can take the model rules, start matching them against our contracts, working with the constituent groups, and
But
start
ma'am, with
there.
all due respect, what about the work?
Well,
The work of merit,
I
I
understand.
don't want, I'm not trying to take you on publicly,
We have
I'm not.
7 weeks left, we've been at it a year, we have 7 weeks left to just finish out the hiring. But rather than, if we have another failed search, then we need to figure it out.
That's my point. What are we gonna do if we have another failed search?
Well, I think you post for 15 days your interim, and you do a quick process at the interim. And you'll know pretty well when the slate of candidates, when you get them on the 7th, right? Whether you have 1 or 2, and then you make a decision to post for an interim. Post it for 15 days, and we do an expedited search. So I think we need to do both. I think we need to prepare. The district is here to support. We have our constraints. We're struggling with pools too. We're having failed search after failed search because, of the same things we're experiencing. We just had one that, the person stayed where they were and didn't decline the offer, similarly to what we're seeing. So the, hiring right now is challenging. But the rules are going to take a long time. And to get the executive director in and have to set up this hiring process, and we do have an office, we have desks, we have a space, and then have to work on the rules besides, let's get a jump start on those. That's my thought.
Thank you.
Can I ask?
Yes.
Amy, can you come up? Come there. I'm gonna ask you some questions. Amy.
Outside?
Yeah, no, right
Oh,
here.
yeah, oh, please.
Just so you're official that,
Oh, okay,
if
okay.
you don't mind, and I'll be kind. I'm not- I promise.
The
So-
chairperson recognizes Ms. Gallagher.
Yeah, so when I had proposed the 3 of us coming, remember that? So I would have been the interim, the official one, but the other 2 were gonna support. What were they called? Were they called professional experts? I remember,
They were called professional.
they would have been called professional
Right.
experts, all right? So did the district have any issues with using professional experts? That was never the issue, right?
No, the issue, my understanding was the pay. The
The-
professional expert is a cap pay.
Okay, where does it cap at now?
I don't recall, but I think it was lower than what that individual was making.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So my point is this, so if that's the process, then I will submit my application. Then, because by May 8th, we have to submit the applications, right? I have no interest in the job, but if I have to get on the list, that means I'm gonna have to go through the whole process to get on the list. I don't accept the job, but that would be the only way to do that, and then I would have to be able to hire the professional experts, and that's only if you can't find anybody.
Right.
Am I making sense?
It does make sense to me.
Does that make,
That would
does that
be
make
our
sense?
Well, we have
contingency
to
plan.
advertise for an interim,
Yeah, I
because
was gonna
someone
say,
may
on that
not
list-
want the permanent job. That's my understanding from council.
And I wasn't part of that, but I mean, the list is for an actual contract position on it, and generally for us is a different.
Start over.
I think you need to check with council on that, because why would you do a separate recruitment for an interim? Thank you, Amy. And I think that's a call you need to make, John, to Mark. Well, so I'll just do this, I'm gonna submit my application, I can always withdraw it, right?
Well, if you find that it is required to do an interim posting,
Posting,
why don't we authorize the posting now? Have you apply as the interim? Start that list, I mean, maybe we should do that, because, but the part of it, of course, is you can't start till July 1,
right,
anyway, but,
But we can't change the posting once it's already posted.
no, I'm talking about a separate
he's
posting.
talking about it doing a new
New
posting.
posting.
If that's what's required to get it done,
Let's do an interim posting now.
let's have you talk to the attorney, if the attorney says that's what you have to do. You would certainly, we could vote to say, if that's what you find out, then let's post it and get it going.
I agree with that.
Would that help, Mark?
I don't know, I mean, it's not on action item tonight, so we'd have to bring it back.
Yeah, June 7th, I
Right.
guess.
So we're in the same boat.
But, that's true, but at least you would know by June 7th
We'll
when
know
we
by
had to
June
do it.
7th. Yeah.
Right.
And then at
And
least
then you guys just do
we
it.
have that what if plan in place,
Yeah,
and you've
that's
given
the
your
what
butts
if.
in, and we're not waiting, we're not sitting
Yeah.
on, with our thumbs tied together, we can move forward with
Yeah.
getting an interim in place.
And by that time, you'll know whether or not it's likely as well.
Gosh, I hope we get a regular director in
No,
place.
I,
We don't have to,
I know.
but yes, but it's good to have a plan.
alright,
in
so,
just in case. So what I will do is I will move forward with, contacting our attorney and ask for clarification around that, and, it sounds like we're gonna move forward, and then on the June agenda, we'll create a space for, an interim posting if our attorney advises us that that is what we need to do.
And I will tell you that I've never seen commissions post for an interim.
Right.
They have never
They've
posted
always
for an
been
interim,
appointed.
and that's my issue with Mark, not this Mark, the other Mark, is that I have never seen that you had to post for an interim. The reason you appoint an interim is because you don't have a list,
Right.
and so you do that provisionally, it's a 90-day appointment.
and we've all I think we all have that question,
It makes
because we
sense,
would,
yeah.
I don't think they did a list for Amy, for example,
No,
when she was interim. So
and they
I've
don't
never
have to.
understood.
Amy's
I-
very special.
Yeah, I've
There's a
never
lot of things,
understood,
yeah.
I've never understood why.
Right, that's like when a superintendent or the chancellor, that they have to open up for the interim, the board just appoints an interim,
No, they post too. It really is both. We do both. We post too.
but you don't have to.
Depends on the businesses.
Time, no.
They don't have
It can go.
So anyway, I think you need to find out that piece. What I would suggest is let the position, it's gonna close on Monday, right? We'll know very
We'll know.
shortly right afterwards, Ritter. And so you're gonna have to have a special meeting anyway, and I'm about to get to that topic when I get to my executive director. before the 7th, because we have to talk about the budget. And so we'll know at that meeting, at the special meeting, at least 2 of you can be there, as to where we are with the recruitment. And we'll design that special meeting agenda anyway to reflect where we're at. Does that make sense?
So whatever the next meeting is, have that listed on the
Yeah,
agenda.
we'll know, we'll have to figure out what that is, but between now and that date, you know, John, I think you do need to have a conversation with council.
Cool.
It is.
In my spare time.
Yeah. And I would call, but he doesn't respond to me.
Yes, no, I understand.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
make sure I reach out to him.
All right,
He did say he would respond to us,
okay, good.
so.
So unless you have any questions, the plan is, let's look at what the recruitment looks like when it closes on the 8th. We're gonna have a special meeting, we'll talk about it in a minute or two. You will, in the interim, reach out, John, with council and get those questions answered. I will see if in fact we're called to the plate. I'll look at the other 2 to see if they're still interested. Understanding, I'll get the hourly amount from you, the highest that you can pay. I have the same interest in getting the rules established as you do, Lynn, I do. And but we do need to provide, we have to start providing merit service on July 1st. Let's just say that, we have to start providing merit service. Whether you have a permanent or an interim, but we have to start doing that.
These individuals and immigrants,
Are they what?
will they be?
Oh, I thought you said, I thought you said, are they immigrants? No, they are retired annuitants, yes, Amy.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying. I'm as well. All right, well, thank you for, I think we have, some clarity around that issue. And we're gonna be moving on to item number 3, our CSPCA reimbursement report.
So
Executive Director expenses.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I added the expenses, my expenses for the 22nd and the 29th. The board is gonna be discussing those. I don't know that you'll get a call, John, but they may reach out to you. And I think they wanna send you the invoice.
Yeah.
For, and it's half, it's less than half
Yeah.
of what this amounts are. And I'm anticipating, I'm gonna look to Amy again, I'm anticipating that it is an invoice with the amount and the total amount, and that's all you need, is an invoice. That we don't need to give you any other backup, just this is the bill for Phillips Services from this date to this date.
I believe that's what you've been giving historically.
Yes, you're right. Cause the question with the state board is, do we need to submit the reimbursement like I'm an employee? And I'm not an employee, this is the fee
This is a
that was,
contract.
yeah, that was
That was agreed
given,
upon.
and so, do you need anything else besides an invoice from me?
I don't believe so, we give it to the business office.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find out because I don't know the detail on meals and transportation, so, I mean, I think we should be able to just use this myself as a backup, but, let me check with the business office, I don't know that detail. Typically, it's, you know, services, right, but this is just direct reimbursement.
So what I'm thinking we would do is, if you look at the total amount, and then you deduct the other, cause the other is direct fees, those are copies, all those under other, that's FedEx. When I had to make copies of the job descriptions and the rules and other things that they had to do, that's all that is. So, it is less than half the amount, total amount.
It's the itemizing because it's different categories, I need to, cause it's not services, it's direct reimbursement costs, right? So let me.
But see,
find
that's my question, is it a reimbursement or is it the fee that we're charging you? You understand the difference of what I'm trying to
I
say?
do.
I do.
Cause we're not an employee, it's not like they're asking for reimbursement for when they went to
Providing
conference.
receipts, right.
It is,
No,
it's a-
I get it, it's just that I don't know the answer,
okay,
because this is a unique situation.
right,
So let me just, I can email you.
Okay.
And let you know the answer.
okay.
Perfect. I trust that the district will provide a reimbursement though, as soon as that invoice is given,
We
that
will.
you'll
We
work
will.
it out, I have good
It's just
faith,
whether it has to be itemized or not.
right, I have good faith that will happen.
Okay.
Is the association paying for that, or is it coming out of your pocket?
So what I do is, for every amount that you see, I have submitted a reimbursement to the association. They paid me. I've used this chart to keep them informed at the state level what I'm spending, and to keep the district informed of what I'm spending, so they know the ready total. But I've already been paid, yeah. Make sense?
Yes. Perfect, alright, and I know that agreement existed before I joined the commission.
Right.
But it is my current understanding that there was an agreement between the district and the association to reimburse those.
The commission and the
Yes.
association, yes.
Yes,
Yeah, that's right.
perfect, alright. Well, if there's no further discussion on that, we're gonna move on to item J, our Personnel Commission Executive Director's Report, and the chair recognizes Mr. Gordillo once again.
So, couple of things, the 2024 CSPCA conference is been decided, it's gonna be March 3rd through the 5th of 2024, it will be held in Monterey, California at the Monterey Marriott. We don't have any registration yet, we're kinda sending out the save the date, and so you'll be seeing that coming forward to your emails shortly. We are working for 2025 to have a conference in San Diego, in the San Diego region. I'm not sure exactly in San Diego, but San Diego's so beautiful, so I'm sure it's gonna be in San Diego. So we are meeting with the region on the 23rd, the directors that are in seat already in the region here, to ask them about how they can start coordinating that effort. And so President Cole, David Cole from Chico, he will be attending, and the training committee will be there as well. And we're meeting, we don't know yet by Zoom. The committee will be in San Diego, we'll be staying at the Hyatt. But we're thinking about having an in-person meeting, or whether we're gonna do that by Zoom, but we are working to have something locally in 2025 for the state association. So I'm excited about that. I neglected to put on the agenda your budget for 2023-2024. The code indicates that has to be done in the month of May. That means that you'd have to have a special meeting before the end of the month to approve the budget. I don't anticipate we're gonna have the same issues we've had. I realized my error, and I called in on Sunday and I said, could you ask Sahar to prepare the budget for us? And she said she would. We couldn't do it tonight, which we can't, because you have to have another hearing. You have to call the board, we have to let everybody know. So if you can pick another date where at least two of you can be in seat, and I'm sorry, I apologize, I just forgot. There's no other excuse. Where two of you can be in
It's
seat.
a good thing you're not our interim.
I know, yeah, I'd be fired already. The two of you can be in seat to approve the budget, and then it goes through its normal process through the district, but if you could look at a date that would work for you, and I'll come back. Lynn, do you have any comment on that? No? And of course, the ed code says if there's disagreement between the commission and the district on the budget amount, that the prior year's budget just rolls forward, so we're covered there, but I don't think there should be an issue.
You might wanna make a couple adjustments based on this, past year, but I don't think there's gonna be an issue. And we're gonna build it in the district tentative budget anyway, so
Right.
you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
If you can't schedule a special meeting, you'll be okay.
Gentlemen.
The other option is, if the district doesn't have an objection, you just do it on June 7th. Unless there's, if there's a real reason that we have to get it done because you think the board is gonna raise issue that they didn't do it in the month of May.
No, and we have to submit a tentative budget, it's just tentative, so, no,
So,
we're not gonna raise an issue.
You're not gonna, so that we could just do it on June 7th.
Let's do it June 7th. I mean, I'm available till the 24th, but it's up to you.
I can do the 24th, 17th. Well, actually, yeah.
I am not available on the 17th or the 24th,
Well,
but
then why don't you
but
just
I'm
wait?
okay with you two meeting.
So it sounds since the district is not raising any objection, and since they're still going through their process, right? That they would have no objection to you approving it on the June 7th meeting. But just for the record, that we're all on the record, that there shouldn't be an issue with you doing it at the June 7th meeting. Unless I'm misinterpreting.
Who
right?
else would
Not an
object?
issue from our end.
The board.
The board, I mean, the thing that could happen is, you know, when Lynn takes it, so the board members find out that, well, they were supposed to do it in May, they didn't, so we're gonna throw it out.
Oh,
But that would
that's-
just be-
That's not gonna happen. If that's the only issue, I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah,
Nothing.
I
think if the board gives us grace in our first
Yeah.
year,
You have my commitment, that's not gonna happen.
then we're perfect.
then I think we're good. We'll table that and make sure it gets put on the June 7th agenda.
The other things that are going on with, CSPCA, we're headed for our third session for the Merit Academy on Saturday. And so those of you that have registered, I think 2 of you are going to the academy, thank you very much. We are now at 75 people, I had 69, but then 7 more registered, and so it's going well. Again, the district is always welcome to attend the academies, and maybe not this year, but next year, when things were hopefully a little bit more settled down and in order. And even superintendents and chancellors are welcome as well, okay?
May I make a comment on that? I am thoroughly enjoying the academy, so I was very worried about the time and how that would interfere with my responsibilities, but the fact that it's been accessible by Zoom, and that if I have to, I can have it on the background while I'm doing something in my office and then still get the information, it has been very helpful.
Good.
And very, very good information, very professional.
All right, well, I appreciate that feedback, thank you, sir. And with that said, I think I'm good, so we can move on.
All right. Moving on to item K, our Personnel Commissioners Report. Commissioner Vice Chair Regals, would you like to start?
Do you really want me to go first? I'll go first. So first I wanna apologize to all of our classified staff. This commission has been letting you down. We're past a year. And I'm sorry about that. I've worked in a merit district for 17 years. I know how it's supposed to be, how it's supposed to operate. This is not how it's supposed to operate. The district is continuing to do business as usual. They're doing all of our hiring. And it's just been roadblock after roadblock. I'm requesting that CSPCA check into their legal to see what can be done for litigation against this district for that. I've also contacted CSCA and asked them what they can, if they would check their legal to find out what can be done against this district. And in the meantime, fill that boardroom. That's the only way you're gonna get done. Call the media, get the news people out there. This district doesn't want this negative press. They've been hindering our ability to function as a merit system, and for that I apologize. We have not exercised what this commission is supposed to be. And this stand on my report.
Commissioner Garrett?
Yes, as I remember it, John's term is a 1-year term this first time, or the position is a 1-year term. I would like you to provide us with a schedule for going forward with filling the position whenever, it's gotta be pretty close. I just don't remember, and I don't remember how long the process takes and everything, so.
So I believe by the Ed Code, by August 30th, John would have to let us know if, well, you would have to decide if you're interested in reappointing John. That's the first question. And then if you're not, and then we have a whole process, we need to start in September, by December first is the time limit,
Okay,
right?
that's what I
Yeah.
needed to know.
And then if he is, then I give you the schedule
Yeah.
for when you can make the reappointment, et cetera. But if he's not, or you,
So
the two of you are
his,
interested,
his term expires December 31.
it does, it does.
That's,
December
that
first.
takes care of what I needed to know tonight.
Yeah. But he also gets the option to say he doesn't want to.
I
Right.
understand.
Okay, good.
That's not my question.
Okay, okay. All right.
And that's all I had to know.
So, and that leads me to mine. I have thoroughly enjoyed working with Commissioner Eagles and Commissioner Garrett, and I think we've done a lot of good work here, but I have had some reflection on my own life and the things that are important to me, and have had some family things happen and personal things happen, and I need to step back from the things that are not allowing me to move forward, and this is one of those things that I need to step away from when my term expires. And I really want to see, before I leave, before my term ends, I really wanna see this system, the merit system come to fruition for our employees. I really want us to have an executive director in place and start working on those rules and getting that office set up and doing the things that need to happen for the employees of this district. It is my full intention to invest as much of my energy and time into that endeavor, and to continue to collaborate with all of the stakeholders, and work with my fellow commissioners, to make sure that that happens before my term expires. But it is my intention, when my term ends, to leave and to allow for another community member to take this very coveted spot, I'm sure, and be able to continue to move the work forward for this community and this district. And I know that our stakeholders deserve to see this work move forward. I know the district wants this work to move forward. I truly do believe in a good faith effort in everyone involved, that yes, there have been obstacles and unfortunate situations, and we do see the urgency in this. But I have to believe that this situation is a little bit more complex than just people not wanting things to move forward. I don't, that hasn't been my experience. And I know that there's some employees that feel that the district has been in the way, but that hasn't been my experience. Certainly there are some things that could have been smoother, and certainly there's an urgency to us moving forward. And I wanna make sure that we continue to advocate and work towards getting this merit system up and running, because we don't wanna be here a year from now. None of us want that. I'm hopeful for our May 8th deadline. I'm hopeful that we'll have 5 solid candidates that we can then develop that eligibility list. I'm hopeful that we can move quickly to assemble our stakeholder groups. I have good faith that we have a good backup plan now for an interim, and that we can continue to move forward. And I think we put some pieces in place today at this meeting, and I hopefully our representatives who are present in this meeting or online see that effort on the part of everyone assembled here. And I'm hopeful that on June 7th, we will have that eligibility list, and we can work towards hiring someone, get a budget approved, do what we need to do to make sure that this commission is in a good place for the coming year. And that's the end of my report. In case it wasn't clear, my rambling, I am stepping off in December. Okay, moving on.
What'd you say?
Yeah, I know, right? Sorry, I blinked, I didn't hear it. Our next agenda item is that our next regular meeting is on June 7th, 2023. I wanna be really clear that before we adjourn, that we had made the decision to rotate between campuses. And so, as of right now, that meeting is scheduled to be at Queen Margaret College at 5 p.m. on June 7th. I have a wondering, and I think I share this wondering from Commissioner Garrett and Commissioner Regals, if we can get a different space, because I don't think that space was, while it was, I think the employees appreciated the opportunity to be present, it was kind of a little herky-jerky pulling the chairs, and there were more people than spots available, and it wasn't a super conducive place to having a meeting. So is there a possibility that we can investigate getting a different meeting space?
What about the Chancellor's conference room?
So perhaps, the boardroom or something,
What
would
is
that
the
be
Chancellor's
possible?
conference room?
What's the room up by the president's?
That's the president's, right?
Well, then there's two also,
But
the
that-
second level, I don't know if those are any
I
bigger.
wanna make sure we have it so that it's available for
My,
people.
my recommendation is that you will work with the district to see if the room is the second half of the board meeting room is available. They can split that off, they often do. We have our CBOC meetings there, we have our foundation meetings there. I know that you could, Zoom is available to a certain extent, I don't know the details, but that is often used for meetings such as this, so I would ask that you, that's where you begin.
What is that called?
Well, I'm calling it the back half of the
It's
governing
the
board.
same. It's like, it's part of the
7
boardroom.
and 206.
206, 7, and 8.
Or something like that. 117, 118, is that what it is?
207, 206.
6, 7, 8.
Right.
We all know what we're doing.
Yeah,
Well, no, I don't.
No, they do, they know exactly what I'm talking
We
about.
can see if it's available. I'll get,
Okay.
we can see if it's
It
available.
would
So
be-
Lynn, you'll work with your staff to see if they can find out if it's available? Okay, thank
And
you.
I'm aware, as I mentioned this, about the resources for the staff, and I know that is, we've shared that it's a challenge in the past, but I think given the number of employees who were based at Queen Margaret College who had expressed an interest in attending and having it accessible, and then us not having enough chairs and having to pull in, and it wasn't the best space where we were last month, and I think we can do better to make sure that it's accessible and that people feel comfortable attending, that we're not all elbow to elbow against each other,
No.
not that I promise I showered and put on deodorant, but it would be nice to have a little bit of space so that people are comfortable and they truly feel like this is a public meeting where people are welcome to attend.
All right, I'll work with Lynn's office.
Thank you. And Commissioner Garrett has expressed that he won't be there, but he has full support of us approving a budget, and the eligibility list
Right.
if it's presented to Commissioner Regals and myself. All right, well, with that, if there's no further comments, this meeting is adjourned at 6:08 p.m. Thank you, everyone.